Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading Card Game World Championship in Tokyo, Japan. We started the weekend off with 26 duelists, 12 Dragon duelists, and 10 Duel Links duelists,
Yes.
all vying to become the 2017 World Champion. And now we're down to 4 of each. So thank you for spending some of your Saturday with us here in Tokyo, however you may be watching us. Thanks for making us part of the day. But don't get too distracted if you're playing in your World Championship celebration at the OTS. You don't want to mess up and miss out on your chance at a very cool game, Matt.
Yes. Now, each of these competitors are just 2 matches away from becoming the world champion in their respective division.
They are indeed. And special thanks to everybody watching out in Europe, where I believe it's past midnight already, because one of your own is going to be taking the stage in our semi-final feature match for the main event.
That's right. Marcello Barberi will be in our top 4 feature match, dueling against Faye Milton from Singapore.
Singapore, Faye Milton did a fantastic job representing Singapore. He was first place in the tournament after day 1, and he finished off his opponent in the quarterfinals with relative ease. In fact, he seems to be just cutting through everybody that he comes up against this time. But Marcello Barberi knows a thing or two about going undefeated in large events, considering he's done it, I believe, twice.
That's right.
Twice in a row at the European Championship.
Yes. Barberi is using a True Draco deck against Faye Milton's Dinosaur deck, so this has become the prototypical matchup for this weekend. And with these 2 very skilled duelists facing off right now, I think it'll be a very good representation of what you can expect to see in your World Championship celebrations around the world.
It's strange because the Dinosaur deck has largely done extremely well against True Draco in this event. So much so that pretty much the entire North American team got knocked out in day 1, with only one of them, the only one who played dinosaurs instead. He's the only one who made it.
That's right, Roland
to the
Fang.
top 8.
Roland Fang made it to the top 8, but lost out in the top 8.
Barberi, on the other hand, he's basically caught on to some tech cards that the North American team did not. Specifically, he's been running a lose 1 turn version of the deck, which can slow down the Dinosaur deck and at least get some of its stronger effects to just not happen.
That's right. He's using a full 3 copies of lose 1 turn, plus a copy of Skill Drain.
So he has a chance. But the thing with the traps, though, is you still need to get a turn first. It's just that when he does get that turn, Barberi is uniquely equipped to be able to take advantage of it and slow down the Dinosaur deck. And it's really hard to slow down the Dinosaur deck, considering how easy it is for them to get to their key cards. Between Fossil Dig, getting you a level 6 or lower Dinosaur, which can get you Soul Eating Oviraptor, or either of the 2 baby dinosaurs, Petit Pteranodon, Baby Cerosaurus, and of course you still have Dragonic Diagram in there to get your True Kings. It's just a really easy deck for getting your combo pieces together, and you have a high density of those cards as a result. So that, combined with the fact that there are fewer things to force you to stop your turn. Maxi is limited for this tournament. It's not limited in Japan, and as a result, we don't see so much of the Dinosaur Yang Zing deck in Japan. It didn't really take off here due to the presence of Zodiac and True Draco, but in the case that either of those is not a thing going forward, Dinosaur, or just this weekend, because you're going to play in this format for the World Championship celebration, you may be seeing a lot more of this Dinosaur deck. So it's a good thing to take a close look at it and see what it looks like in the hands of the master.
Yes, Faye Milton is also using an interesting card that's not in all of the decks, Lost World.
Lost World is the field spell exclusive to the Dynasmashers Fury structure deck. In addition to being kind of the reverse seal of Orichalcos, dropping the attack of everything that's not a dinosaur by 500, it has a number of other effects that help it to mess with your opponent's ability to play their own game, and indeed get your game going further by creating the Jura Egg token, destroying it with Oviraptor, and then substituting that destruction with the destruction of a baby dinosaur in your deck. It looks like our duelists are ready. Marcello is in fact going to get his turn, and he starts off with Pot of Desires.
He banishes the top 10 cards of his deck and waits for a response, and Milton activates Ghost Ash from his hand.
Yep, Ash Blossom.
So 10 cards are banished from the duel for good, but no cards are returned to Barberi's hand.
Barberi is playing a 40-card deck. We had seen a few duelists were thinking of going higher than that to accommodate all the extra banishing from Desires, because they wanted to be able to play multiples in a single duel. However, none of them are left. 2 cards face down. And Marcello passes his turn. We'll see if he's got something to stop the dinosaur shenanigans. Milton starts off by activating True King Agnimazud the Vanisher from his hand. Agnimazud needs to destroy 2 monsters, including at least 1 fire monster from your hand or field. He takes out Miscellaneousaurus and Petit Pteranodon. That's pretty good. While Miscellaneousaurus doesn't activate its protection effect in this way, it puts it in the graveyard so that he can activate its effect to summon a tuner. Starts with lose 1 turn. That's pretty good. That's going to keep some damage temporarily off the table by negating the effect of special summon monsters for the turn, and then switching any special summon monster that's summoned in attack position to defense position. One of those effects activates, the other does not. But there are no main deck copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit in Milton's deck, so we will not see lose 1 turn taken out that way. Yeah, that's actually what happened. I saw somebody play it in the North American WCQ. They played it, and then when a special summon happened, and the effect to switch to defense triggered, it was hit by Ghost Ogre. But Ghost Ogre, not a popular main deck choice here.
It's interesting that it creates the sort of a drawback in that it's able to trigger in that way.
Half is pure continuous, half is trigger.
Yeah. Either way, Petit Pteranodon should activate.
It does indeed. However, the monster that it summons will also have its effect negated and be switched to defense.
Yes, thanks to lose 1 turn.
And it's not just attack position monsters that are negated, it's all special summon monsters for the turn. It's just it only activates the secondary ability to switch to defense if it's summoned in attack position. So that's another thing you have to think about.
Also, since Petit Pteranodon is not a fire monster, he did not get the second effect of his True King.
Indeed, and it seems like the question right now is whether or not Petit Pteranodon has to summon here. And it does. Basically, Milton activates Petit Pteranodon first because it's a trigger effect, and lose 1 turn is chained to it. So he's not allowed to go back and say, well, no, I'm not activating it. Because that's what the rules of the game are. The trigger effects have to be first.
Assuming he activated it already. Is it a mandatory effect?
And they are indeed clarifying how lose 1 turn works down there. So they'll get that wrapped up, and we will go and grab you the text of Petit Pteranodon.
It actually is a mandatory effect. It reads, if this card is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, special summon 1 level 4 or higher dinosaur-type monster from your deck, but it cannot attack this turn.
Indeed, so it will be Chainlink 1, as it is mandatory. And then, after that, Marcello is allowed to flip his lose 1 turn, which he has. Oh, I'm pretty sure I know what they're talking about here. So Milton, because it was activated on the summon of True King Agnimazud, he's arguing that his monster should not be switched to defense.
Which monster? The monster summoned by
the monster
Petit
that was
Pteranodon?
summoned there. He's saying lose 1 turn wasn't face up when the monster is actually summoned, so you shouldn't be able to activate the effect that happens when a monster was summoned. And that is not the case. It should, in fact, switch to defense here. Because you're activating it when the trigger condition happens, it's treated almost like a regular trap card. We saw a lot of the same thing with, is it Recreate? Recreate is the skill drain for Clifford's, that you can activate that when the monster is summoned and still have its effect trigger. So our judges are getting this sorted out. I do believe that Barberi will prevail in these proceedings. He's explaining his side of the story to the judges.
I don't think there's any confusion about what happened. I think it's just a confusion about how lose 1 turn works.
Yes. And it looks like they have gotten the answer, and it does indeed work the way that Marcello believes it does.
Yes. So Agnimazud is in defense position, and Milton gets to special summon a level 4 or higher dinosaur from his deck, but it can't attack this turn. It switched to defense position anyway.
And its effects are negated.
So it won't be attacking this turn anyway.
So I guess the question is, do you just get the biggest dinosaur in your deck and throw it out there?
That would make sense.
There's not a whole lot you can do combo-wise here. Not with all of your monsters being negated when they hit the field. It looks like we have an update from Duel Links. Their semifinals are going on right now. Timmy has won game 1 of Duel Links with a Taya deck-out strategy.
Oh. Probably with the dual standby skill.
Hmm.
Only Taya can learn that ability.
It's interesting that Taya has a unique ability.
Yes, most of the duelists do. Maybe even all the duelists.
She always dueled so infrequently
Yeah.
in
well,
the TV series.
It's quite a strong ability also, because both of you and your opponent start with an extra card in your opening hand.
Hmm.
So it's valuable to the duelist using the deck-out strategy.
Ah, so he's going to go with Miscellaneousaurus there.
Okay, not a bad choice, because Miscellaneousaurus will also have an effect once it's in the graveyard.
Indeed, and it also makes for a very good material for a Synchro Summon.
That's right.
And he goes ahead and banishes Miscellaneousaurus for Jurak Aolo. And it looks like he is going to try to do some combo-y stuff here. Probably at least put Denlong onto the field.
Yeah. He won't be able to use its effect, though, to search on this turn.
Alright. Goes ahead and normal summons. Yeah, he would only get the graveyard effect to special summon. And there's Tyranno Infinity, I believe. That's not a card that you see too often, but a lot of decks play one copy of it. And as he's looking up the text, let's go ahead and look it up for you as well. Tyranno Infinity is a level 4 dinosaur-type monster. It's Earth. And its original attack is the number of your banished dinosaur-type monsters times 1,000. So one of the great things with Miscellaneousaurus is that even though it's normally only banished by itself to summon a level 1 monster, you can actually banish any number of dinosaurs to summon a monster equal to that level.
Banish 4 of it, it turns your Tyranno Infinity into an Obelisk the Tormentor.
Pretty good, right? It is sent to the graveyard along with Iolo. Special summon Denlong. It will be negated as well. So he's got a 5 and a 2. The effect still activates, though. And Milton, he seems to be arguing something else here.
He's searching his deck.
That does not seem correct.
Oh, he's chaining the effect to modify its level. Is that a quick effect that you can use on your own turn?
It's not a quick effect, it's just an ignition effect. But I believe it is a cost.
Actually it is.
It's a quick effect?
No, it's a cost.
Yeah, it's a
so
cost.
He's going to use the effect to modify the level, send Q into the graveyard, and even though the effect is negated, he gets Q in there.
Right.
That actually came up in a duel I had against Robert Boyajian the other night.
Alright, and we are following our extra safe shuffling procedures here. So our judges took care of that for Milton. And Barberi's back up. It's quite a lot of defense points on the field. Denlong's pretty hefty on its own. Second Pot of Desires. This one's going to go through. But I bet Barberi's deck is going to be very thin at this point.
Wow. I feel like it's always tough to come back after you've used Pot of Desires twice. Even if you did resolve both successfully and drew 4 cards off it, losing half the cards in your deck is usually pretty costly.
He should have around 13 cards left at this point, banishing 20 for Pot of Desires, drawing 2, and having his opening hand of 5, plus that 1 draw for this turn. So I guess that puts him at 12.
Yeah, it's tough though because Barberi's deck does search the deck a lot, and a lot of the cards he may want are more likely to be in the banish pile than they are to be in his deck.
Yeah, that opening Ash Blossom was pretty huge. Over in Duel Links, we have Timmy winning his match. He moves on to the finals. Samsung Yoshida has also won his first game in Duel Links.
Barberi sets one more card and then tributes it. It's a True Draco Heritage. Tributes it for Dynamite, the True Draco fighter.
And he goes back over to the graveyard there. You got to be careful with that. One of the criteria specifically for slow play is repetitive actions, including checking the graveyard. And he's done it quite a few times in just this turn. Goes to battle. Attacks a True King.
Milton sends it to the graveyard.
I don't really think there's anything he could possibly do about that.
No, doesn't look like it with no face down cards.
Another card gets set. And now Barberi's in business. But he's got to work fast. You don't get too many turns against this deck, even with lose a turn. Milton's thinking about this.
Yeah, he checks his own graveyard.
27 minutes, 30 seconds left in the match.
Both players want to be very meticulous in this match. They don't want to make any errors that cost them the World Championship.
The problem is, you don't get more time.
That's true.
You got to play the game like every other game.
It's still Yu-Gi-Oh!
Soul Eating Oviraptor, normal summoned. And Barberi goes back to the graveyard. Now, one of the great things about Soul Eating Oviraptor, and one of the reasons it's so strong against decks like this, is that you can go and search for a kaiju.
Yeah, Doggeron's a dinosaur, right?
It is indeed.
So that can come in handy against the duelist who is using the Windwitch deck that's able to summon the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon that is otherwise difficult to get over.
Indeed. Foreigner could be having a difficult time over in his semifinal match as a result. Michael Foreigner, who we saw last night in round 5, or rather in the quarterfinals.
Barberi uses Solemn Warning to negate the summon of the Soul Eating Oviraptor, so he pays 2,000 life points, and he doesn't have to worry about what the Oviraptor is going to do.
I think he might if that other Miscellaneous Saurus can wind up in the graveyard. And it can.
To special summon another... Well, why? To special summon another from the deck, its effect will be negated.
Oh, yes.
Because of lose one turn. He really needed that normal summon to happen.
That's right.
Yeah, lose one turn only negates the effects of special summon monsters, so using Solemn Warning on that Soul Eating Oviraptor was incredibly valuable, since it was a normal summon.
Just thinking about it, takes a look at his extra deck. Well, that's interesting. I get the distinct feeling that he is not going to attempt an extra deck summon.
I can't imagine he would, since whatever he summons would also be negated, have its effect negated by lose one turn.
And be switched to defense.
Yeah, unless he plans to tribute the lose one turn. Which is also possible. But I feel like he is quite ahead here. He clearly sees Milton struggling. I would be reluctant to give up this position with your lose one turn backing up all your plays and your Dynamite asserting the pressure.
He just needs a way to get past the 2,600 defensive Denlong.
That is the one problem. But eventually, perhaps he'll draw Masterpiece, unless it's in the Banish Zone already, with half his deck.
So over in the Duel Links semifinals, we've got our rematch between Charlie Futch and Ryan Yu, and Ryan Yu has won the first game of it, which you kind of expect a Chain Burn deck to do. Like, that's the thing it does best, is win game 1.
Yeah, it's an interesting match in the duel, Dragon Duel.
It is.
Semis.
ABC versus Chain Burn.
Yeah, I don't think anyone predicted that.
Both duelists did fantastically yesterday. And you got to see them both as well. And if you missed their matches, when the VODs go up on this, you've got to see them. They are two of the most incredible matches of this tournament.
Milton summons Ultimate Conductor Tyranno in defense position due to lose one turn.
Its defense points are quite high, are they not?
I believe they are. I think they're stronger than the Dynamite's attack points. even if not, he is able to use his ultimate Tyranno's effect on his opponent's turn. It will no longer be negated by lose one turn at that point.
Indeed.
And then on his own turn, he can, of course, use its own effect again.
It's got 3,200 defense.
Ooh. Rude Draco Apocalypse is tributed by Barberi, and he normal summons another Dynamite. So now he gets to use the effect of his Apocalypse to destroy the Ultimate Conductor Tyranno.
And presumably Milton's going to chain its ability. Indeed he does, and Dynamite is activated in response. And the great thing here is that he's going to be able to flip summon the one Dynamite back up. And it'll still be a tribute summoned monster. Won't know what was tributed for it, for example, but it'll still be tribute summoned. It'll be both tribute summoned and flip summoned.
So Milton destroys the baby Ceratosaurus in his hand so that he gets to activate its effect after the chain resolves. So all of Barberi's monsters go face down. The Ultimate Conductor Tyranno is destroyed, and then baby Ceratosaurus will special summon a monster from the deck. However, that monster's effect will be negated due to lose one turn.
You know, I just realized I did not look to see what sort of removal Milton plays for a card like lose one turn. Does he have any? He should have some Cyclones. Yes, he has 3 Cosmic Cyclones and simply hasn't seen them yet. So Barberi needs to work fast. As Milton thins out his deck even more, the chance that he'll draw it out increases.
Yeah, it's tough for Barberi also because he's going to run out of cards eventually if this stalemate continues.
Flips up a Dynamite Knight. I'm not sure that that is the one that was actually not just summoned, but the effect is the same. Meanwhile, we already have a result in our other semifinal match. That was fast. And the winner is Ryosuke Sugimura of Japan. So we're going to have at least one dinosaur deck in the finals.
If Milton wins, we'll have 2.
Barberi's doing his very best to stop him, though. At the very least, he has lasted longer than his teammate.
Barberi flip summons his Dynamite, the True Draco Fighter.
Indeed, Sugimura is also playing dinosaurs.
Oh, he's combining his 2 Dynamites to perform an Exceed summoning.
Really?
Seems a little dangerous with lose
Wow,
one turn on
what's
the
he-
field as well.
What's he going for here? Does he have anything that's unaffected by his own card effects? Ptolemy M7 in defense mode.
Oh, that's interesting, because he can use it to return Denglong to the extra deck during his opponent's turn.
Is Ptolemy M7 a quick effect?
I believe it is.
Or are you thinking of Pleiades?
I might be thinking of Pleiades.
Ptolemy M7. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Exceed material from this card and target monster on the field or in either graveyard. Return that target to the hand. Is not a quick effect.
Not a quick effect. So then I don't know where this is going. Its effect is negated. It can't do anything this turn. It only has 2,000 defense points.
Well, it's certainly going to the extra monster zone. It's been shoved to the center of the table. Meanwhile, back over in Duel Links, Tutpup has won his. Yes, he's won his match. So the finals there are going to be Timmy versus Tutpup.
We haven't featured Timmy yet, but we did feature Tutpup yesterday.
Meanwhile, over in our other Dragon Duel, we have Raphael Reich taking on Eric Toppel. And Rafael has won his first game.
So Milton is banishing dinosaurs from his graveyard. Looks like Soul Eating Oviraptor and Miscellaneous Saurus. So he gets to special summon a level 2 dinosaur.
That'll be a baby, most likely. I don't think there are any others.
I'm really curious about this M7 play.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's going for here. He's probably... Now, over on this side, there's a chance that he's going to try to go into Yazi here and get something untargetable. I don't know why he'd do that, though. That doesn't seem useful. There's got to be something else in his hand. It is a... Oh, it's a true King Lithosage, the Disaster.
Okay, it'll switch to... Did he tribute summon it?
Yeah, it appears he did.
So it is not switched to defense position by lose 1 turn.
Indeed.
That's a clever play. Oh, and Barberi was a little confused himself. He thought it was special summoned. Milton clarified that it was a tribute summon.
It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to special summon in this case because Ptolemy M7 is bigger than it on either end. But if it gets to stay in attack position, M7 only has 2,000 defense.
That's right. Now he just needs to connect with an attack to destroy M7.
It's just very confusing to me why M7 is here.
Special summons Baxia. Is that with the effect of Denglong?
Yes, it's just when it leaves the field, and it's an if effect, not a when you can effect. It seems very likely that M7 isn't going to make it.
Well, it really depends what Barberi's face down card is.
Yeah, it would have to be another Apocalypse, I'd think.
Or he could, yeah, no. That's it. It's gone. He'll use True King's Return to bring back the Dynamite, the True Draco Fighter. Maybe that's why he did it. He thought it was kind of a free roll to do the Xyz summon, since he can get the Dynamite back so easily with True King's Return.
Marcello's picked up another monster, though. That could be very handy.
Is it a good one? Is it one for him to tribute summon?
I believe it's Ignis Heat.
That would be handy. Tributing True King's Return would let him destroy an opponent's monster.
Special summons on his own turn with True King's Return. Now, if he still has a Disciple of the True Draco Phoenix in his deck, he'd be able to at least get some cards back in there and start to take out the possibility of being defeated by deck depletion.
That is true. He does play 3 copies. It is possible all of them are banished by the 2 Pot of Desires he activated. But I'd say it's more likely that he has at least 1 left.
He's doing some math here. He tributes. He's thinking of tributing off his True King's Return.
He will do that for the Ignis Heat that he just picked up. True King's Return will activate. He gets to destroy an opponent's monster. I imagine he'll pick the True Draco.
I don't know if there's a point
or
in
rather
destroying Bian here.
Rather the True King. Lithosage. Yeah, if he destroys Bian, its effect will just activate, allowing Milton to replace it. Ignis Heat will also activate.
Well, no, so will True King, though. It also has an effect when destroyed.
Oh, that's true also. It gets a special summon a non-earth worm monster from the graveyard.
From the graveyard, I believe, which would be Denlong, which he can't actually do anything about.
Okay, so he...
Yeah, so
good
I
call.
guess it is Bian.
It's the slightly more effective play.
Ooh, does he not have any left? Yeah, if he doesn't have any left or chooses not to use it.
Okay. Dynamite attacks, destroys the True King.
Ignis Heat gets in there. Barberi finally makes a scratch in Milton's life points. And then picks up another couple of cards off of True Draco Heritage. This could finally be the break he needed, but he still needs to act fast before that deck runs out.
Well, if Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix is still left in his deck, now that he has Ignis Heat, he'll be able to search for it.
Indeed. All right, and then he tribute summons the third Dynamite Knight using the extra tribute summon ability, sets a card, and now Milton is the one that's in big trouble. He's not going to be able to outlast that. I'm not even sure that something like Cosmic Cyclone would help that much at the moment. It might be too little too late.
I think you're right.
He only got 2 cards in hand, right? He's got a Miscellaneous Source in the graveyard, though?
He does. So, but with lose 1 turn on the field, it's not going to be the most effective card.
All right, he goes 2. True King's Return hits the field. And there's not very many cards left in there. There's only 3. Can't take that long to shuffle a 3-card deck. Milton just trying to outlast those last 3 cards.
Yeah. He special summons Baby Sarasaurus. He might be able to do it, but if, in fact, Barberi does have Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix at his disposal, that'll probably extinguish all hope Milton has of winning.
If he could get another Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, that might be nice.
Maybe. Again, the turn, he doesn't have that many cards to keep destroying to set his opponent's monsters.
He doesn't need to, though, because he's got 3,200 defense.
That's true, too. He can wall up with it. That's a good point.
And there it is.
If Barberi has a monster to tribute summon, however, he'll be able to tribute the True King's Return and just destroy it.
Indeed. And I think that came from the graveyard. No, it did not. No, it came from the hand. So he did indeed have the second copy. For a second there, I thought this was one of those summoned from hand or graveyard ones, but it is not. And there's the Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix.
That's really, really good.
That'll at least get him monsters back into the deck. Sends 2 traps.
Along with the Dynamite.
Yep. His monsters are 3 Heat, 3 Dynamite, 1 Maiden, 1 Masterpiece.
Milton lets it resolve.
And now he just has to get a monster.
I really doubt Milton had an answer to that. Or I suspect he would have used something like Ghost Ogre.
Man, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, that was a pretty nice one to get your hands on. Let's see what he's got. Well, at worst, at least the monster's back in the deck, so he will draw it at some point.
Yes, it's inevitable. And if he wants to, he can probably destroy some of the monsters on his field to draw those again by sending them back with Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. So he won't run out. He can use his Dynamites as Xyz materials, for example. Cosmic Cyclone by Barberi.
Interesting. What's he going to take out with it?
It looks like he's targeting his face-down card.
What was it?
Can't see where I can't see what it was.
It's a terraforming.
Oh, it's terraforming?
Now he activates Pot of Duality. Well, if there's only 3 cards left,
He gets another Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. Milton cuts his deck directly in half. Now Barberi gets to draw the top card. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, he didn't use the Disciples effect.
No.
Sorry. That was after the Pot of Duality.
We're getting there. Not quite there.
I think we'll get there.
Has he got 3 cards in his graveyard?
I don't know. And can you only use the effective Disciples once per turn?
Yeah.
So. The important thing is he keeps increasing his deck size instead of decreasing it every turn.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if he has an Apocalypse in there somewhere.
He may have shuffled it back in. I know he tributed one, at least at one point this duel.
And it looks like the rematch over in Dragon Duel between Charlie Futch and Ryan Yu has gone very much the same way as it did the first time. Ryan Yu and his Chain Burn deck are on to the finals of Dragon Duel.
It was a good run for Charlie Futch with his ABC deck.
Yep. It's just if you're not prepared for the Chain Burn deck, there's not a whole lot you can do about it.
Yeah, it's hard to beat. You think he might be so scarred by the loss he puts Hanewada and other anti-burn cards into his side deck for his next tournament?
Unlikely.
Looks like Chua used the effect of his Ultimate Conductor Tyranno
Mm-hmm.
on Barberi's turn to put all the monsters face down.
And he destroyed a Lithosagium, which he's going to use to revive Agnimazud, which also goes to defense.
Barberi switches its position.
And in main phase 2, Barberi flip summons all of his monsters. Is it still main phase 1?
It must have been main phase 1 because now he's attacking.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But still he can't get over the Ultimate Conductor Tyranno.
Indeed. And Ultimate Conductor Tyranno can attack everything. Or is it only face down monsters? Are they confusing it with regular Conductor Tyranno? Or regular Ultimate Tyranno? All monsters your opponent controls, once each.
It's only after it uses its effect it can attack all of them.
No, you can just do it.
It can just do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's strong here, depending on what Barberi has.
Let's find out what that last card is. Show me Apocalypse.
Ah, it is Apocalypse.
There it is. That is, as they say, the good stuff.
You don't see this a lot. He has 5 continuous cards in his back row.
That's some Cliffort level stuff right there.
Tributes True King's Return. Well, rather destroys it with the Apocalypse,
All right.
thereby destroying the Conductor.
And Barberi is able to finish him off. That was a real up and down duel.
It was. It was pretty drawn out, but it seemed like Barberi was ahead for a long time.
And you can see now, like, this is why lose one turn is there.
Yes, this win was mostly due to the effect of lose one turn.
That is what won the game, is lose one turn.
100%.
And Barberi's very, very smart to include it there. I'm surprised we didn't see more of it, given how many people were playing Dracos. Joshua Schmidt was also running lose one turn as well. And I got a little bit more information on that as we go along.
I think a lot of duelists built their decks prepared to duel against True Draco decks, and lose one turn isn't as effective against a True Draco deck since it doesn't special summon. It's like part of what makes it so strong in the deck is part of what makes it so weak against the deck.
Yeah, if you think that the majority are going to play True Draco, you'd play something like Zombie World, I guess, or bring in the set rotation.
And some people
something
did.
like that. But if you think you're going to play against dinosaurs a lot, but you still want to stick with True Draco, then lose one turn is a great way to do it. It's a continuous trap. It has an effect similar to Skill Drain, but it's got the bonuses of kind of a pseudo level limit area B, where you get half of a Skill Drain and a turn of free defense against huge monsters, and you need that a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of times the Draco deck, if one of your draw cards is disrupted, you're not able to do anything because a lot of them are hard once per turn, like Pot of Desires or Card of Demise. So when that gets hit by Ash Blossom, normally you would have to stop. But if you've got lose one turn, you can at least survive and get to the next turn without losing a huge chunk of your life points in the process. And if you don't need any more, you can always just tribute it away.
Yes, and that's how Barberi got to the top 4 with his True Draco deck in a field full of dinosaurs.
And I think that's definitely the best tech pick for the True Draco duelists in this tournament.
Yeah.
Just lose one turn, by far.
I mean, a lot of people were talking about Skullmeister, a lot of the players this
Mhm.
weekend, but I didn't really see an impact of it, at least on stream.
Yeah, it hasn't really cropped up, has it? And it hasn't even... A lot of it's because the True Draco players aren't main decking many of those cards.
That's
like, some
true.
of them are. The US players I know were really big on Ash Blossom,
Yes.
but not all of them had Skullmeister. And in this case, it looks like Skullmeister's just completely out. I don't even think Barberi is side decking it.
He's not. It's nowhere on his list.
No, it's just Ash Blossom, Ghost Ogre. But he does have Vanity's Fiend. So if I had to pick a second choice as to what the most interesting tech card in True Draco would be, it'd be Vanity's Fiend.
Yeah.
It's another tribute summon monster, so it works alongside lose one turn. And once you get that kind of locked in there, there's really not a whole lot your opponent can do. The dinosaur deck in particular is so special summon heavy that once you put that 2400 attack monster out there that stops them from special summoning at all, a lot of their card effects just cease to exist.
Yeah. I think we can expect to see Barberi put in the Vanity's Fiend in the second duel.
He's also got some Time Lords for other True Draco decks, but that's not as much of an issue here. So I think we could see some Ash Blossom, maybe Ghost Ogre, and probably thinking Vanity's Fiend. Meanwhile, over on Milton's side, let's take a look at what he has got. He's probably got a lot of stuff for the mirror match there. So he's got Skullmeister, Strike, more Kaijus, Time Lords of his own. We'll probably see his Zephion come in. Twin Twisters. Forbidden Chalice is actually quite good in this matchup. And then he's got more monster removal in the form of Mirror Force, like original Mirror Force, and then Quaking Mirror Force as well. I kind of like original Mirror Force here because if you just get those monsters off the field, that's nice. Quaking Mirror Force also pretty good though because you can just get them stuck there and then eat them all with Ultimate Conductor Tyranno.
That's true.
And Milton chooses to go second here, allowing Marcello to start by setting a monster, 3 cards, and then activating Card of Demise.
So far, so good. He picks up 3 cards from his deck.
I wonder what that set monster could be. It would have to be something he sided in.
Yeah, nothing in his main deck can be set.
Nope.
At least without tribute. It was an Ash Blossom.
It's an Ash Blossom.
Pretty
tributes.
good.
Oh, double tributes for Masterpiece.
Wow. Activates True Draco Heritage, uses the effect to draw 1 card, thanks to the tributed True Draco Phoenix.
A strong opening, but he's got to remember that Milton not only has Kaijus, he can search them out.
That's true. And if you put in the Mirror Force or the Quaking Mirror Force, that can also be used against Masterpiece, since it is not immune to trap cards, since he did not tribute a trap card.
Indeed. That's part of the great thing about Milton's side deck there, is that you're not expecting trap cards out of this deck. You're expecting 1 trap card, 9 pillars.
Yes, it's a good way to diversify the threats to get around Masterpiece.
Activates Miscellaneousaurus from his hand. That'll protect his dinosaur monsters from activated effects for the rest of this phase.
He knows Barberi has a Cosmic Cyclone, since he just got it with the duality and set it.
And I do believe that I see a Soul Eating Oviraptor.
Top 4 participants.
Twin Twisters.
Please go into your 3-turn end of match procedure.
Alright, so time has ended. However, this match has at least 5 minutes of stoppage time added onto it. Another Card of Demise and a Cosmic Cyclone are eliminated. No Solemns there.
Yeah, he discarded a Suwani to do it. Now he summons Soul Eating Oviraptor.
And he's not going to have the Ash Blossom here because he had to tribute it earlier for Masterpiece.
It looks like Barberi actually has no hand at all.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't. He played Card of Demise last turn.
That's a good point. That would explain why he had no hand.
Searches out Dogoran, but the good thing about making them search out Dogoran is that at least it's not another dinosaur. It can still be a piece of a combo though, since Oviraptor can destroy a dinosaur on either field.
Yes, and unfortunately for Barberi, because of Miscellaneousaurus, he can't even use Masterpiece to destroy the Oviraptor.
Indeed, he cannot.
Miscellaneousaurus is now banished from the graveyard to special summon Kurak Aeolo from the deck, and he tunes it with the Oviraptor to synchro summon a level 5 monster. He chooses Denglong, unsurprisingly.
Oh, hold up. Soul Eating Oviraptor only destroys level 4 lower dinosaurs.
Destroys level, but can
Yeah.
it search for any?
So it's going to search for anything, but only targets a level 4 or lower, so Dogoran gets to live. Yangzing Path is the choice there, so he probably already has the pillars, because he doesn't have 3 Yangzing cards.
He does
in his
not.
Graveyard.
He only has 1, I think. The Denglong would be a second. He can send another one. He can send Q-in, which he will do to use its effect and change its level to 1.
Actually, I thought I saw the 9 pillars in his deck as he was going through it. Ultimate Conductor is next. And Milton says that's fine.
He uses his Conductor Tyranno's effect. He destroys the Denglong, so that puts a 3rd Yangzing into his graveyard. So he was planning ahead to use that Yangzing's path.
No, he's going to special summon Chiwen. He's going to set up probably negation first. Nope, he gets Suani. Has he only got 1? Yeah, only got 1. Alright, so the monsters are summoned. And he now checks his graveyard here. I guess he wants to put up a second Denglong. And that one would be even bigger. It'd be 3,100 defense. And Marcello wants to concede for time.
Where would the 3,100 defense come from?
Plus 500 for Suani.
Does Suani increase defense points as well as attack points?
Yep, attack and defense.
Oh.
That's why it's so hard to get past things like Baxia. So it appears that Marcello has had enough of this one and wants to preserve as much time as he can of their stoppage time. I don't know if that's going to be the case, though. Unless they have a little more, they would only have a minute and a half. So they would have to side deck extremely quickly for this to not become a 4-turn duel.
Milton takes back his Dogoran, and they shuffle up for the final duel.
So a little rough there. Marcello looked like he was starting off pretty strong, but unable to counter the effect of Soul Eating Overraptor. That allowed and that combined with Miscellaneous Horse rendered Masterpiece ineffective. And Milton was able to field enough monsters and damage that Marcello didn't see a way to win this one, prompting him to concede for time.
Yeah, we'll see if that concession pays off. I can't imagine it really will, because it looks like they're going to go to time regardless.
It could be, though, that Marcello wants to make sure that he gets to side deck for it. Because if time runs out beforehand, they would not get to side deck for the extra game.
That could be. Marcello might think the cards in his side deck are better for time than the cards in his opponent's side deck. Camion does damage, right?
Camion does 500 when I shuffle something into the deck.
So he might be putting those in.
Well, he could put Camion in.
He'll-
Zaphion does not do any damage,
He'll probably want to take out his Cosmic Cyclones,
likely.
since those cost life points. Definitely will want to take out Upstart Goblin. He runs one copy of that.
I mean, we saw what happened specifically in the European Championship. It was won because Upstart Goblin was played in time.
So he's not going to want that to happen again.
Yeah, I think the plan here might be just to slam Vanity's Fiend on the table and hope.
I think so. And Skillgrin also costs life points. So yeah, I can definitely see that he would want to have the ability to side deck to prepare for the 3rd and final duel.
He's got some stuff in the extra deck as well that does damage.
Yeah, I see Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend.
He's got Piercing.
Volcasaurus.
Yeah, Volcasaurus in there. Piercing from Gaia Dragon. Number 39, Utopia Beyond, can drop everything's attack to 0. Get some damage in that way. But we will see how long their extra time lasts before we go into our end of match procedure. It looks like they're going to get the game off in time, at least.
Yeah. Doesn't look like Milton has any cards in his side deck that inflict damage. And in his extra deck, I don't see anything that inflicts damage either. His Ancient Fairy Dragon, which
Gains life, which is just as good if you run out of time.
It is. But other than that, I'd say with this being the 3rd and final duel, And both players having now side decked, I think Marcello Barberi is at the advantage.
And he's chosen to go first here, and we've just received word from Robbie, who is our field reporter and doing an excellent job keeping us apprised as to what's happening at the table. Time was called, so this will be turn 0 of the 3-turn end of match, which means that Milton will have the last turn.
So Barberi has a choice of Terraforming, Dynamite, and Vanity's Fiend. Terraforming and Vanity's Fiend both seem pretty powerful there, but having no ability to actually summon the Vanity's Fiend this turn, he does go for the Terraforming, which he activates. He loses out to Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. That's really powerful. He wouldn't have taken the Terraforming if he already had the one copy of Draconic Diagram, so it's obviously a very strong play to negate it.
But again, Milton has the Ash Blossom on turn 1.
Yeah, no, that's been a very defining card in this tournament.
Sets 2, activates card or demise. That's what, 1, 2, 3? He only gets 1 card out of it?
Wow.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that's pretty weak.
Oh, I believe I saw a spell card in there.
Looked like he had a spell card.
I think it was True Draco Heritage.
If he doesn't have a monster to tribute it for, it's not particularly useful.
Well, he's probably got monsters. He has to have some sort of monsters, otherwise he wouldn't have drawn just 1 card off card or demise. Sets 2 face down. And tributes them both for Masterpiece. And they are both spells.
Ooh.
That's rough.
Yeah, so it's only immune to spell cards. It's vulnerable to both traps and monsters.
That's rough. He just has to pray for no Overraptor.
Why do you suppose he drew 1 card with card of demise? He obviously had at least 1 other spell in his hand before he activated it.
Yeah, I'm not certain what happened there. Unless we just missed and he drew 2.
That's possible.
But I don't think the cards work out there. Meanwhile, over on the Dragon Duel side, Raphael has won his match and will be meeting Ryan Yu in the finals.
Wow. Twin Twisters activates. She discards Baby Sarasaurus to try to destroy Barberi's face-down cards, but Imperial Order will negate it,
Ooh.
which is risky in itself because it has a 700 life point payment.
That's a source
cost.
of damage. 2 continuous spells in the graveyard here. And can he get... Oh, Milton's drawn 2 Yang Zings and Miscellaneous Saurus. Is that 2 Yang Zings or is that Tyranno Infinity and Suani?
Can't see from his hand.
The Yang Zings will be able to keep his life points safe.
Yeah, unless he can create a chain and then destroy it with Masterpiece.
Oh, Masterpiece might have to be used to destroy Imperial Order.
Oh, that's true too.
At
He
this
might do
point.
that also. Well, if his face down card is something he can activate, he can chain Masterpiece's effect to destroy Milton's Yang Zing, and its effect won't be able to activate, right?
Indeed, but this is a high-pressure situation. Will he realize it? Marcello's a pretty strong player. I'd like to think he will, but strange things can happen when you're under this much pressure, and you know you only get 1 more turn.
Yeah, I don't know what that face down card is, but it seems very likely it would be a trap card that he's holding for this precise situation.
Ideally, you would want to keep the Imperial Order and do the chain trick to clear this monster,
Yes.
and
Because
just do enough damage. You're taking 1,400, and Masterpiece is doing 2,950. But being able to keep the removal and the Imperial Order on the field,
it's very strong. And if he really wanted to, he could also destroy the Imperial Order in his own draw phase with Masterpiece.
it's true. So you could wait to see what he draws.
But if he can, assuming that face down monster is a Yang Zing monster, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's very likely that it is. I think if Barberi were able to flip a trap card and activate Masterpiece to destroy the face down monster, I think that would probably seal him the duel.
That would be correct. And he activates to destroy it. And it is began. He had 2 Yang Zings. But the good thing about this is that he now knows what it is.
That's true. So even on his own turn, he can flip a trap card and chain Masterpiece's effect.
Now, the key thing to note, Imperial Order paying for it is not an effect, and it doesn't start a chain. Can't negate it, can't chain to it. It is a cost. So Barberi basically has one shot at this. Here we go. Even if it's not a trap card, even if he gets a spell, and it's a spell that'll just get negated if he plays it, he can still do the chain trick.
Yeah, and if it's a continuous spell, it'll stick around.
And he's going to take his 700.
This is his last turn, right? Unless the duel's tied up after Milton's last turn.
Indeed.
So he needs to act now. I think there's pretty much nothing he could have that would do nothing.
He
He needs a card to activate.
Yeah, activate anything.
Should be pretty easy.
Or even if he has something to tribute a Yang's or a True King spell or trap for, and to have that start a chain in the graveyard.
Yeah, I mean, he has cards in his hand. It seems almost impossible that he would have nothing. Pot of Duality. He activates it. It's obviously going to be negated by Imperial Order, but he's probably going to use Masterpiece's effect right here and now.
Imperial Order does not stop the activation of spell cards, so he's still allowed to activate it, and he does it. He chains it.
True Draco Heritage is banished.
True Heritage is banished. Chi-Wen goes down. Neither effect can activate.
Yep, since Chi-Wen activates when something happens instead of if something happens. If it's not the last effect to resolve in the chain, it doesn't activate at all.
And it's not mandatory either. So Barberi has pulled ahead, 2950 damage. Sets one more card, and he's going to take 700.
Okay, this is the last turn of the duel, unless Milton can either tie it up. Really just unless he can tie it up. If he gets ahead, he wins. If he stays behind, he loses.
7,300 to 50-50. We have a 2250 life point difference at the moment, but Marcello is going to go down to 66. Milton needs 1550 to tie, 1551 to win. Who will be playing in the finals of the World Championship?
Barberi loses the extra 700 from Imperial Order.
But he got to keep it, and that is huge.
Yes. So none of Milton's spell cards will help him now. Masterpiece, unfortunately, for Barberi isn't able to use its effect, though, because there are no continuous spell or trap cards in his graveyard. So right now, it's just standing as a 2,950 attack monster.
I feel like the best draw here is something like, I think that would be Ultimate Conductor.
That would be incredible.
Ultimate Conductor would get him there, I believe.
Does he have two dinosaurs in the graveyard?
I think he had Miscellaneous Ore in his hand, but I could just be misremembering.
Yeah, I only see a baby Ceratosaurus in his graveyard. So if he has a Miscellaneousaurus that he can discard.
Or any other dinosaur, because I believe you banish from hand or graveyard.
I think you're right. But actually, that's not enough damage.
But if he has that and another monster,
Yeah, he
like
needs...
say the Swanny's there, he can get 1,000 damage off of sending Masterpiece to the graveyard, and then attack for game.
Yes, he'll need a couple of cards to make this work. He discards
He does have
Miscellaneousaurus. He has the Ultimate Conductor Tyranno.
He picks up the Tyranno. Yeah.
So he banishes both the... Oh, he summons Suani!
So he had the exact hand, the one and only.
He has exactly what he needed, unless Barberi's face-down card can stop this. Milton will actually pull ahead with these two attacks.
If he could get Imperial Order into the graveyard.
That would do it. He'd be able to banish it to destroy his opponent's Ultimate Conductor Tyranno and wouldn't take the damage that would end the duel.
The problem is Miscellaneousaurus will be protecting Tyranno, so he'd have to hit... Yeah, he'd have to hit Swanny. And that way he'd only take 1,000. Because Swanny summons in defense.
Yes.
And that's assuming that it doesn't just miss the timing again.
But I don't think he has any way to get rid of Imperial Order. Does he even have a hand?
No.
It all hinges on what that face-down card is. It looks like it's nothing. Ultimate Conductor Tyranno attacks Masterpiece to destroy it, and Swanee attacks directly to end the duel and the match.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Marcello actually, he played all of his cards right. It's just Milton had the one out.
Yeah.
Which is the exact combination of cards required to get around that field.
That seemed very unlikely, but it's exactly what happened.
And it's wild because that hand that he had was actually not very good, except in this one situation. And he had just drew that Ultimate Conductor right here. He did not have that before. So he drew into the last piece he needs, and Barberi is eliminated.
What a comeback.
Leaving our first place finisher from the preliminary rounds yesterday on to the finals, where he will be taking on another dinosaur deck. And that will be Ryosuke Sugimura of Japan. So that's going to be our finals for the main TCG event, Milton versus Sugimura. We will have a third and fourth place match coming up a little bit later. The finals for Dragon Duel will be Raphael versus Ryan Yu. That's Chain Burn versus, I believe, True Draco, but I will get that for you in just one moment.
That was quite the match.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Chain Burn and Raphael Frank, who is True Draco. And it's the Kaiju deck. Oh no, it's on True Draco. It sort of is. This is a very interesting deck. I think we have a pretty good Dragon Duel finals coming up. I see Alistair, I see Kaijus, I see True Dracos.
It's a little of everything.
Oh, yeah, it's a little bit of everything. Okay, well that could be a very interesting match coming up.
We saw a lot of creative decks from the Dragon Duelists this weekend.
Mm-hmm. And it served them very well.
It did. A lot of them advanced very far.
Mm-hmm. It's got to be a little disappointing if you're Barberi to play everything exactly right and then have your opponent draw the one out there.
Yeah, it is satisfying knowing, though, that there was nothing you could have done differently to win. So, you know, it's a little bittersweet.
Yep. He's going to have to recover, though, because we've got a third and fourth place match coming up as well, where he's going to have to take on his fellow countrymen.
He will, for the pride of being the third place duelist in the World Championship.
Indeed. That's not all that are being given out today. We mentioned some prize cards yesterday. Those will be happening as well. There are game mats featuring the prize cards' new artwork, which hopefully we'll be able to show you a little bit later on in the broadcast once we have a sense of where they are. Yeah, it's just, I keep thinking about that one, and it all started out so well. Barberi's Lose One Turn did exactly what it needed to do. Like, everything went just fine.
Right.
It just took too long.
Yeah. And then Duel 2, he just conceded to save the time to be able to side deck. And the more I think about it, the more I like that decision, because having looked at the life point payments in his main deck and the burn effects in his side deck, I think he was entering the third duel in better shape, having conceded the second duel.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, it didn't make a difference.
No, it's that exact card combination. That was the only thing that was going to get him there. And he just had it. And that's Yu-Gi-Oh!
That is Yu-Gi-Oh!
Sometimes you just believe in the heart of the cards and it gets you there. And it did for Milton of Singapore. So just to give you an idea of what our schedule is for today, we'll have our third and fourth place matchup from the all ages bracket. That'll be coming up next. Then we've got a very spectacular show for you after a lunch break. And after that, we'll get into the finals. We'll have all three in a row, the finals of Dragon Duel, then the finals from Duel Links. And then we have a special exhibition match, AR exhibition match. If you're familiar with the voice actor duels from the North American WCQs, for example, and some select YCSs, you'll get kind of an idea of what we're going to see here, but it's not quite the same. You'll see.
I am looking forward to it.
Definitely stay tuned for that. And then at the very end, we have our finals of the all ages event to determine the 2017 Yu-Gi-Oh! World Champion. And then we'll say goodbye to all of our players before we sign off for the day. So, I think it's just about going to wrap it up for us for this one. Matt, we'll see him next round as well. He'll be tagging in for the third and fourth place match.
That's right.
And, yeah.
We'll resume shortly.
That's about it. Don't go away.